Okay, public meeting of the Fayette County Area Planning Commission to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Want to do roll call, Bill?
One moment. Okay, board members, Brenda had a family emergency she had to take care of right now. So I'm going to be taking care of part of Brenda's duties. What she will do as far as then drawing the minutes, it will be the same thing that she always does anyway. She always uses the video to make the minutes. And it's fortunate that we don't have any public hearings, so it's just strictly a public meeting. Okay, attendance for the Area Planning Commission meeting for December. Okay, Jerry Govan.
Here.
Zane Bador.
Here.
Mark Flum.
Here.
Ed Harrell.
Here.
Mr. Hilton. Here. Jason Waterman.
Here.
Gabe Nobby.
Here.
Brian Jennings.
Here.
And James Barrett is not here this evening. Mr. McDaniel, I am in attendance. And Mr. Baker.
Here.
And Brenda Todd, the secretary. As I mentioned, she had a family emergency she had to attend to. So I guess next is the approval of the minutes.
Okay, everyone had a chance to see the minutes?
I move to accept as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, minutes are passed. Next up, we have the citizen petition request for APC to develop siting regulations for satellite manure storage structures.
And what we're going to start with is what we had was a petition. It was, are there any additional names to the petitions to turn into us? No. Okay. There were approximately 170 names on the petitions of various residents in Fayette County. And these included both people who live in the immediate area of Newman Lake Road, and then also residents from other parts in the city and other rural parts of Fayette County.
Bill, I think they had more.
Yes.
The ones that we turned in, there were 756.
I mean 700.
Oh, 700, that's a big difference.
Yeah, I meant.
That's a little bit.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yes, I apologize for that.
Fine.
Question, how many of those signatures were maybe two people in the same household, roughly? You know, like a husband and wife, or was it, or did you limit it?
I would not know. They were signed singly at
Okay.
various meetings, and then also when we traveled about asking people their opinion on this and whether they would be interested in signing.
Okay.
Yeah, because I did notice there are
I noticed
some of the sheets, there are a fair number on some of the sheets.
Right.
Other sheets, there are only single members of households. So these are part of the record in the office. Any of the Plan Commission members or anybody else who wishes to come by the office, these are part of the actual public record, and these are open for review in the Area Plan Commission office. And I'll go ahead and read off so everybody who is watching television can know exactly what is being requested on the petition. We, the undersigned residents of Fayette County, respectively request that the APC and commissioners review the county ordinance. We believe that there should be setbacks for siting on all satellite manure storage facilities. The definition of a manure storage facility is defined by IDEM. Means any pit, pad, pond, lagoon, tank, building, or manure containment areas used to store or treat manure, including any portion of buildings used specifically for manure storage or treatment. Due to the potential for water pollution, air pollution, health, and quality of life issues, request that each of the proposed manure storage facilities be required to have a hearing open to public input. Also, for those satellite manure storage facilities that are proposed under the numbers are regulated by IDEM, either solid or liquid manure, it would seem prudent to require soil testing. Now, if there's someone involved with the, I'd like to speak to the Plan Commission concerning what's being requested,
My name is Malin Whitaker. I live at Newman Lake in Wayne County. And what we're asking that Fayette County to do is to create realistic site regulations regarding what is something that's relatively new, and that's the satellite manure storage. We're finding that manure is becoming a hot commodity to get out of the area where it's generated, which is in the Grand Lake St. Mary's area in Ohio. The idea is to get it out of there because of the intense pollution that has literally closed Grand Lake St. Mary's in the past several years and fouled it for personal and recreational use and caused property values to drop. This is a phenomenon that we find that our local governments and state governments are caught flat-footed. There is a level at which CAFOs, or confined animal feeding operations, are controlled under IDEM, but there is a gap between 0 and 5,000 cubic yards of manure, and also anything under less than 1 million gallons of manure. And we don't want Fayette, Wayne, Union, or any other county to become a dumping ground without any realistic regulation for this product being brought over. As has been pointed out by people from the Grand Lake St. Mary's area, the effects on the soil can be, would not call it permanent, but certainly very, very, very long lasting in terms of the buildup in the soils of phosphor. The water can be fouled with bacteria and viruses which are contained in the manure, as well as there are toxic heavy metals like arsenic that are in the manure. And I realize that this is not something that we ever could have imagined would happen to us here. But what we're asking is that should any of these satellite manure storage facilities, which are being encouraged by the Ohio EPA and the federal EPA, be proposed in Fayette County, that realistic goals of setting back from communities, from parks, from places where it might be hazardous, the watershed and the like, that this be explored, as well as I think that, you know, we have citizens who have invested in their homes. It's their life savings, it's their nest egg, if you will. And the location of one of these manure storage facilities near a home will drastically reduce their property values, and that should be of great interest to the county for tax purposes, as well as just living and general living conditions. So we would hope that you would look very seriously into this, and especially the sense of urgency. Though this particular one is located in Wayne County, we have discovered that there are actually funds that are being made available to the corporate farming type of interest to put up these satellite manure storage buildings. And basically, Ohio is exporting a problem. We realize you're caught flat-footed, but you don't need to be flat-footed anymore. Protect the welfare of the citizens, protect the value of their properties and their health, but at the same time being realistic that the farmers need to farm, and the use of organic fertilizers may seem like a very, very good idea. Indeed, I would support that. But organic fertilizer with arsenic in it, not as keen on that. So these are things that need to be carefully looked into, and I hope that you'll consider doing this. And I'm also hopeful that if Fayette County does this, which I think is right and proper, that we would be able to easily, as a Wayne County resident, to go to my county and their planning commission and say, let's, as a courtesy, not do to Fayette County what has been done to Fayette County by Wayne County by putting this ag building so close to over 120 homes located in the Gordon Estates area, and then additional homes on Newman Lake Road, because it could happen again, it will happen again, and funds are being made available in various programs for exactly this sort of thing. We would appreciate as quick an action as possible, because 2014 will be a year in which some of these funds will be released for farmers to put up these satellite manure storage facilities, and so time becomes of the essence.
Mr. Wigger, where are the funds being made available from?
EQIP funds, apparently that is an acronym for, every federal program has an acronym that would, it's something called EQIP funds.
That actually stands for the Environmental Quality Incentive Program, handled through the USDA.
Whose environment? I'm just wondering.
I notice in the petition and also in your comments, use the term satellite manure storage. What exactly does it mean when you say satellite manure storage?
In other words, not produced on the farm that it's located on. We're not talking about a farmer and a herd of cows. There are various regulations that control manure use and the like on lands, and especially if you're in federal programs. This is a peculiar new development, if you will, in that the manure made elsewhere is literally being brought in, and hence the term satellite. That's my understanding.
I thought that's what it meant. I just wanted to make sure. So we're all talking about the same
Not
thing.
yours, not mine, not his, somebody else's.
It's not being used at the location where it's being stored. It's being shipped out from there elsewhere. is what you're
Well,
saying.
produced.
It may, obviously it's for use as farmers, but that's the other question, and I'm glad you brought that up, because what you're looking at is that the volume, we are of the impression that there are 600,000 tons of this material that are made in the Grand Lake St. Mary's area from the poultry farms that are there. That's a lot of poo. And so it becomes a borderline of business. It is, one could reasonably argue that it is a business. Farming, as you've noticed, is not the gentleman up and down the street and the neighbors you knew and they had a few cows, pigs, or sheep, or whatever, or poultry. It is industrial in nature now. And so it is a business. The state touts that we are very important to agribusiness. And our goal isn't necessarily to shut down farming or hinder any new and innovative ways of doing anything, but to be realistic to the existing property owners there. This is the new phenomena that's coming, the satellite manure storage and the import of waste products that are literally forbidden to be used in the area that they're made.
So satellite means animal waste products that's produced outside the county being brought into this county.
Correct.
Not to be necessarily to be used in this county, but just to be stored.
That's my understanding, yes, sir, but it could be used anywhere. There is something that, I wanted to bring this up as well, and I know this may sound some radical, but the products that are in there, we've talked about previous viruses and bacteria and arsenic and various things, but they're also, and as of concern to me, which I've discovered from talking to people in law enforcement and military, is that 5,000 cubic yards of manure has methane and ammonia and phosphor. And with the right trigger, I, as a concerned citizen, have found out that it literally could be set off. And I think that's something that concerns me greatly, since it's at the end of an airport that is used by both civilian and military. The helicopters from Shelbyville come and practice here, and I live right at the end of the airport, so I get to see everything that goes over. I've seen C-130s and different things over the years that have come in, and this is in the last decade. And it's of great concern to me that something that could be set off with the right trigger And I'm not speaking just as myself. I've talked with a gentleman who's the head of the bomb squad in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he said, yeah, with the right trigger, we could set it off. He wasn't sure what yield he could get out of it, but he thought it would be a pretty good boom. So, you know, these are things that I think that need to be considered as well in terms of your setbacks. We're thinking of reasonable setbacks in terms of a home or a community or a neighborhood. But if there's a potential for this literally being exploded, its location near anything that's critical, a gas pipeline,
Residents.
is of great concern. And I know it sounds like I'm out there with a tin hat, but, you know, we live in a different world of people doing things that we wouldn't have believed would have been done in the past. And that's of grave concern to me too, because of its location near the airport, and something that I don't think that has been considered.
Is everybody aware that the airport got approval, they have no objections to the building? I don't know if everybody knows that, but they...
My understanding is that the objections, Mr. Flum, is that the objections were based on its height, location, and reflectivity relative to the landing system that has been put in at the airport. I don't think that the issue of the possibly being explosive in nature has ever been addressed.
You're right, correct. It's just strictly on the
But if I were
interfering with it.
if I were landing troops here for the practice, I don't know what the agreement is with the airport as to why they use that, but we do have the heavy helicopters come in from time to time, and they literally come right over my house, so I know, and it's, you know they're there. They're at several hundred feet or less, and if someone were of a horrible mindset, it could be devastating.
So, any discussion from members of the board?
If the members would like, I can provide you with the bomb squad's desk phone number that you might contact to get further information, or if you prefer to pursue with Homeland Security or someone like that, then well enough.
Now, what we have is there's a request to consider putting together an ordinance of, as far as siting regulations. And not acting on creating anything this evening, but it's to start moving to determine as what are the possible options. And I know that Gabe really hasn't been involved as much with the, and Mark, as far as what I try to do when I work on these ordinances, is that try to start with looking at, you know, the full range of options from basically, you know, the minimal all the way up to, you know, the maximum possible, and then finding out, and then coming to a conclusion on the part of the Area Plan Commission, what's the appropriate course, what the Plan Commission feels is the appropriate course of action.
Well, I know since I've been on this commission, what we've done, for example, with the CAFO ordinance, with the airport overlay, and certainly something of this importance, is to put a committee together to meet with you, commission members, citizens that's interested, elected officials, and work to bring something back to this group to consider. And I would be willing to make a motion that we do that we appoint a committee to start that process in the next weeks and months to look at this and work with you to put an ordinance together.
Okay.
Or to put together whatever we think is appropriate, that committee would think is appropriate.
Just so I'm clear, after we put this together, then it's sent to the city council and the county commissioners for approval, correct?
The committee would bring it back here for approval
Yeah,
and
they put it
discussion.
here, and then it gets
And
sent
then we
to.
make a recommendation only to the commissioners and the council.
Yep.
And what we can have is up to 4 members of the Area Plan Commission. Do we have anybody, if such a motion is made, those members that would be willing to volunteer?
And I will.
will as well.
Any other members be interested? All right. And if you'd like to make a motion,
I would move to that.
Do we want to put a time frame to this?
I think so, because it sounds like there's a possibility that events are moving much more rapidly
Yes.
than when we were trying to work out with the confined feeding.
I mean, I know the CAFO took forever, but we got some guidelines with the CAFO, so I don't see this taking near as long as that to get something together.
Okay. And could someone then phrase a motion to cover this discussion?
I would move that we form a committee to take a look at this satellite manure storage situation and to work to bring some recommendation, whether it be an ordinance or whatever, back to this group for consideration. That committee can consist of members from this commission and certainly from citizens any citizens that would be interested in. I think that would be important.
You have to live in county.
Over here,
I don't know.
attorney.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Not if you're interested and you're in the vicinity, sure.
Okay. Now, would we name the other members from the general public, or do they just show up every time?
Would be, someone would actually make a request, volunteer to be a member, and then we would then finalize that then at the January meeting.
I just think it's important that if we're gonna meet as a committee somewhere, that everybody knows that it's not some kind of a behind closed doors meeting, that everybody knows that everything's done in the open and above board.
Well, it's a committee of the,
It's Technical Advisory Committee,
Right.
the actual terminology.
and Zane's question is, are we governed by the open door law?
With four
And,
members.
I can look into it, but my recollection is on the city meetings, committees, they seem to tend to say, yeah, so I can look into it for you.
I think as long as you stay below a quorum, isn't that what the?
Well, we want to stay away from a quorum, that would very definitely require.
Well,
But giving notice of a meeting of a committee doesn't hurt anything at all.
No, actually, that should be done as far as when you're scheduling the meetings, is that they also need to be published at the same time at the start of the year that the regular meetings are. So this would be something that would then be published, the date and then actually the time. It's much like when there's a meeting with the executive committee for the area, for the county commission.
If you do it that way, it's covered for the whole year.
Okay.
Yeah, making the media aware of it, the meeting dates and so on.
So you need a second, doesn't it?
Meeting second.
Who seconded it? You did? Okay.
Okay, Gabe second. We do a roll call on this.
No, it's not a public hearing, so it isn't a roll call.
Okay, so, board members, everyone understand what the motion is? Okay. Those in favor of creating a committee, I can't see the correct wording that was used here, but on storage satellite facilities for manure, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
We didn't put a time on it.
Yeah, you want to put a time limit or a time limitation or requirement?
Would you like to amend your motion to add that?
We just had a vote, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
It's binding.
It's binding, you can move to amend the,
Absolutely.
I just don't know if we,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're looking for as far as a time frame. Certainly, we don't want to do like we did with the CAFO and stretch it out over 3 or 4 years. But we'd already said we wanted to make this probably the most important thing, number one thing for next year.
Yep.
So I think that's good enough for me. We'll have this taken care of within the next year.
Okay.
since there are, as we've discovered, federal or state funds that are being made available through this EQIP operation, in talking to Steve Higginbotham, the person who issues zoning permits in Wayne County, I was told that anyone that comes in for one of these Ag 1 use buildings, basically they have to give the permit, you know, even if it is for manure storage. And I think that because of the criticality of the fact that these are going to be popping up quite a little bit and there's money available for them, I would ask, and there's no ordinance or anything to be done, but if you find yourself in a position where someone's coming in and asking for an Ag 1 use building, before you put any ordinance in place or rules or restrictions, there is this gap under 1 million gallons and under 5,000 cubic yards. Could we ask that the zoning say, what the heck are you planning to do with this right now, or delay those kind of things, because you know, it's like the Black Friday sales, you know, everybody rushes to the store to get one because tomorrow's Saturday, and knowing that a regulation might be coming, you know, I could see that there might be a rush to get Ag 1 permits without necessarily declaring what they are, and grandfather yourself under or incur an expense on behalf of the farmer that says, hey, I put money into this, you know, you can't shut me down now. So there is some urgency about it, and I don't know whether you can tell somebody, you know, hey, if you're gonna store tractors, it's okay, but if you're gonna...
Mr. Baker, can we put a hold on until the findings of the committee? Is that legal to do that?
Well, I've never had that one asked before.
Would it be rather we ask the county commissioners to pass a moratorium on these structures until something would be resolved?
That's all Ag 1 does.
It may be something more that a legislative body should handle, is what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
I
it's,
mean, we are a recommending body,
Right,
we can't do anything.
I agree,
If we
I
could,
agree.
you know, forward to the legislative bodies.
Yeah, I think it's something more in the line of what a legislative body should do as opposed to a recommending body.
just
We can
like,
recommend it to them.
just like when the area plan commission worked on the sign regulations.
I don't even know if we can do that.
And the area plan commission, they held a hearing on the moratorium, and then it was passed by the county commissioners and then council. There's an 18-month moratorium. So it needs to be a very specific time frame, which this actually occurs, and be very narrow. Would it have to be something that would originate with the area plan commission?
But Bill, if a farmer wants to build a barn, what permit does he need to build that barn?
The Fayette County zoning code, I hate to say, has an exemption for agricultural buildings.
And so,
No, there's
I
guess my question is, what are you asking the commissioners to do? To stop all agricultural buildings until, I mean, I don't know how you define what we're talking about here.
Well, what this does is this raises an issue I know I've had with other members of the Plan Commission over time, is that it was put in place in 1993, is pretty common, a lot of ordinances had put specifically an exemption in for agricultural structures if they're used strictly for an agricultural use. Now, the issue comes in is that we have had, as a matter of fact, it was Gabe's father actually came in and wanted to have a building permit so they could get it tracked and then get the various inspections done for the building. But it is something that probably should be there. It's that if you're going to, for example, you really shouldn't exempt the permit if there is something that should be permitted, but in the name of costly agriculture, it should be more along the lines of you exempt fees specifically, but it really isn't something that you should exempt a whole class of structures.
But at this point, we have nothing in place.
That is correct.
So in order to create it, we have to create
That would
the
have to
entire
be
thing.
first. Exactly.
See, that's what I'm thinking could get this whole thing clouded up with trying to do what we're talking about doing in a committee. But it's something we need to talk about in the very first committee meeting.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, now Now, for example, is if there are certain things in the committee that it comes up with that, okay, make a certain recommendation as far as changing that exemption, that's something that can be easily done in the meantime, that type of thing. So,
Yeah, I can see where we would
yeah,
have to look at
so if
that.
there's little pieces here and there, that can actually be done in the meantime also. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, I just had a thought. We're talking about the satellite manure storage. I think we have to be very inclusive of the farm pond, quote, quote, because that's what's happened in other counties, that you must have it as a satellite, include the lagoons, because 999,000 gallon of manure is a lot without any soil testing or anything.
Yeah.
So I would just encourage you, whatever you do, be sure that you do include, because I don't know, what does your ordinance say on farm ponds now?
Okay, the only thing that we have is once it exceeds basically it doesn't require permits until it gets to the point where there's basically it hits the same, the same DNR requirements for actual engineerings and approvals.
So I just encourage you to be sure that's in whatever language you use.
Yeah. And the only other thing we have is then in the drainage ordinance, as far as spacing from property lines and roads.
Maybe it is 19 or so.
I was thinking 20, so
You go up to 19 feet.
and then also what drains a square mile too. A square mile drainage.
Yeah.
That's when DNR takes over, after it's a square mile drainage.
Okay, could you maybe repeat that so everybody who isn't familiar with those requirements?
DNR doesn't look into a lot of things until at least there's a square mile of drainage draining into a certain area. After that, DNR regulations kick in, but on a pond or anything. So until there's a square mile, they're
Okay.
hands off.
Well, I thought there's also if there's a surface area, if there's a depth, and there's also a
There's a height on the dam.
height on the,
20 feet, I'm pretty sure it
yeah,
is.
because there's a range of things on there that had to trigger all three. Okay. Since it's gonna need to be set, is in the past, what I've attempted to do with these various meetings, and we'll set these on the next month, at January, but I typically try to have these 1 or 2 weeks prior to the public meeting, the plan commission meeting. So that way there's time to respond and then make necessary changes, and then get everything out in the package to, plan commission members.
So you're saying not have the first meeting toward the end of January?
Yeah, because we'll need to set at that time what the scheduling will be for the meetings.
Okay.
And citizens who are interested in being on this committee, should they contact?
I would say, contact me, and so that we can, place those in front of the area plan commission in January.
Is there a limit to the size of the committee?
There isn't, but I would probably.
They get too big, they get out of control.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The largest we've had was with to the airport, and then I think there was 9 people involved, including me.
I think 9's a fair number.
Nine members including Bill, is that what we're saying?
Correct. And then what we'll do is January, we'll formally adopt the technical advisory committee.
So we need a motion, that's
Because we
correct.
only got 3.
That is correct.
So what all needs to go in the motion?
Okay, limit to 9. The technical advisory committee for the satellite storage to be limited to a maximum of 9 members, including the 3 plan commission members already stated, Mr. Flum, Mr. Harrell, Mr. Bador, and myself. And to any interested citizens, up to a total of 9 individuals. And this can also include other members of, well, for example, if there are other members of the area, of the county council, or there's members of the city council who'd be interested in taking part.
So we're saying 5 members from the general public.
Yeah, maximum of
Yeah.
5.
Okay.
So moved, I move what you just said.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
I couldn't remember that.
And I don't, let me get this straight. We are voting on a 9-member committee to look at satellite manure storage facilities. 3 of which are already from the area planning.
Correct. Mr. Flum, Mr. Harrell, Mr. Bedore, me, and a maximum of 5 members of the public or other elected officials.
And this committee will come back and be reported to us who this committee is in January, is that correct?
No, we will do is in January.
February.
Yeah,
It'll be in
yeah.
February.
Because we're going to, formally set the schedule in January.
Okay, there's our
I wish
motion.
you had this.
You should do more of this.
Yeah. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Any other discussion on the citizen petition? Okay. All right, next on our agenda is the 2014 annual plan discussion. Phil?
Okay, passed that out to everybody, and it was, if there's anything in addition to, from last month, because that's pretty much everything that we briefly went over last month as far as the priorities, which are of course, the satellite manure storage, the home occupation, and then the floodplain if necessary, if something finally happens with the division of water. And specifically left it light for some of these different things. And to give a little bit more flexibility.
So we just need to accept or decline this, right?
Beg your pardon?
We just need to accept or decline this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I move to accept the Area Planning Commission Annual Plan for 2014.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the area plan commission projects for 2014. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries.
Okay.
All right, next up on our agenda, expiring APC appointments. Bill?
Yes, okay, what we have is the expiring APC appointments are the one citizen appointment that is expiring is Mr. Barrett. And I believe Mr. Barrett has indicated to me that he will probably not request to be, once again, beyond the Area Plan Commission. There will be, of course, Mr. Jennings, which is an annual appointment by the school corporation, and I'll be sending a letter out to that effect. And I will be sending a letter to the mayor concerning his appointment to Mr. Barrett. Now, the Area Plan Commission appointment, it's they have the option, the commissioners, is between the county surveyor or the extension educator. They have an option of appointing one or the other to fulfill that particular seat. And it can't be any citizen, anybody else, but it has to be one of those 2 positions. And on the Board of Zoning Appeals, there is only one position, and that's the county commissioner's appointment, and Mr. Burgess is in back right there. And if you're still interested, you can just go ahead and formally, you can send me an email, and then what I'll be able to do is I'll forward it to the commissioners. If you're still interested in taking part. And those are it with the actual appointments.
The last last one is,
Okay, there's the one BZA appointment that expiring is Mr. Burgess, and he's a commissioner's appointment,
oh, but not on the area.
not on the APC. Yep.
Don't you have somebody from this board?
Oh, yes, and then there will be one member from the Area Plan Commission, one citizen member that is appointed to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So
That's the same night as these, right?
Yeah, that'll be January. Yep. So. Oh, actually, that should be two, yeah. Well, it's December 31st. It's actually the way things are written is the expiring date. One says the 31st of December, the other one say the January 1st in the state code. It's just why, I don't know.
Any other discussion on the board?
Do we need to set the one from the APC?
Oh, we do that at the first meeting of the year. That's when it's required to be done.
All right.
Okay, next on the agenda is the director's report.
And what you see at the director's report is it also has some of the information already to this year, so there's a little bit more information than I usually have on the director's report.
So we need entertain a motion to accept.
I move to accept the director's report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of accepting the director's report, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. One is accepted.
Say it again.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn, is second. All in favor?
I said that.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
The December 9th meeting of the Fayette County Board of Zoning Appeals is now called to order. Would y'all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Our secretary cannot be here tonight because of a family issue, so I'll ask Bill to do the roll call.
Mr. Crawford. Here. Mr. Waterman.
Here.
Mr. Hilton. Mr. Hilton. Not here. Carrie Steele. Carrie Steele. Not here. Mr. Burgess.
Here.
Mr. McDaniel. Here. Mr. Baker.
Here.
Ms. Todd. Not here.
We have quorum?
We have quorum.
Very good. Next item would be the approval of our minutes from our last meeting, which was July the 8th, 2013. You've all received them. Do we have a motion to approve? Or
So moved.
we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes approved. All right. Next item would be the expiring BZA appointments.
Mr. Burgess is the only BZA appointment that's expiring. If you are still interested in being the commissioner's appointment, if you send me an email, I'll forward it to the commissioners.
Okay.
And I was asked if you'd still be interested, or how you are as a member. I said I'm probably the only person that probably knows more of what's in the zoning code than you.
Good.
So, and that, yes, I told them that you are also a very good member. So,
Thanks, Bill.
yeah, of course, I have my fingers crossed.
I show up.
Well, think about it. If you want to do it again, let him know.
Okay, well.
Next item would be the director's report, that you all have a copy of.
I make a motion that we accept it as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good. Any other business? Or a motion to adjourn?
I don't think we have any more business.
Nope, that's it, on the schedule.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Need a second?
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
Whoa, that's a record.